Welcome everybody, welcome back to my virtual Instructables. So last episode we looked at setting up VMware Workstation variables and we created a virtual machine. We didn't get to install that virtual machine. So today we're going to look at installing Windows 10 in VMware Workstation. So resuming from where we left off, we'll go to Edit Virtual Machine Settings. And in here we can change any of these settings that we like. The settings that we want to change is the CD DVD. So we can use a physical drive or we can use an ISO image file. So I'm going to use an ISO image file and I'll select the operating system ISO and make sure that it says connected power on. The network adapter I'm going to leave at bridged because that will give me access to the internet when the operating system installs. I won't change any other settings here at this time. So I guess the first thing to do then is to power on this virtual machine. When it starts up, you can get rid of messages, click in and press enter. Now I'm going through this pretty quickly, so I might just go back first of all and recapture that information. So let's just have another look here. Let's go and right click on the virtual machine and we'll go to the power and power off. And if you don't want these messages to pop up, once you've read them, you can tick the box that says don't show me this message again if you like. So what I did was once I started the virtual machine, I clicked in the screen which captured my keyboard and mouse. To uncapture or remove or release your keyboard and mouse back to the physical machine, you can press the Control and Alt key simultaneously on your keyboard. The annoying thing here is when you power on the virtual machine, you have a very short period of time to press any key to start the installation. And there's a little pop-up that comes up. So have a look at this again. A little pop-up will come up here. So I'm going to tick this box that says this is all about removable devices, telling me that I can add these removable devices to the virtual machine. I don't want to see that hint ever again, so I'm going to click OK. Then I'll go back over to the virtual machine, right click, and I'll power that off again. So now when I power on the virtual machine, I won't get that message. I can just click in the screen which captures, press enter at the prompt, and I'll have the installation start. Now installing Windows, as you are probably aware, can take some time. So what I'll be doing is when there's nothing interesting happening on the screen, I'll set the video to pause. And when something interesting happens, I can unpause. Okay, so let's just get into it, I guess. Activate Windows. Do we want to activate Windows? We can do, but I don't have a product key at this stage. So you can tick that box there and just select that. And it'll come up with a list of versions that you can choose to install. Now, if you don't have a product key and you're not planning on activating it, you're only using this for a test, then it is time limited, but that's fine. You can then select any version of Windows 10 that's in this list. If you do intend to use this virtual machine long term and plan to activate it, you should only select the version that you have a product license for. So I'm going to select Windows 10 Pro. You can select Windows 10 Pro Education, Pro for workstations. I don't select any of the N versions. I'll just select Windows 10 Professional or Windows 10 Pro because I'm going to connect it to a domain a little bit later on. Accept the license terms after you've read through all of that. And which type of installation do you want? Do you want to upgrade? Well, I don't have an operating system installed, so I'll select custom. The drive that I've selected is a 60 gigabyte drive. I added that in VMware Workstation earlier. There is nothing on it. I haven't created anything in there. I haven't formatted it. I haven't partitioned it or anything. You can, in fact, just click Next at this point and let Windows do it for you, or you can go ahead and create the partitions and format them and all the rest of it if you want to, or if you need to. Let's say you've already had an installation done. There may be lots of virtual partitions already here, so you may want to get rid of those, and you can do that by deleting them here. Otherwise, you can just click Next. I just clicked New there, and what it did is it created the necessary partitions ready to go. So you just select the primary one once you've done that and click Next. If you don't, just click Next at the in the first instance. So I might just pause the video here and resume when we are nearly finished. Right, so nothing exciting happened there at all. So we've just rebooted, and now I'm going to go through the prompts as it asks me to finish the setup. Keyboard layout. I don't want to add a new keyboard layout. Some of this is a little bit annoying, but you have to go through it. I'll set this up for personal use. And I'm going to create an offline account because I don't want to connect it to anything else except my domain when I set that up. So let's go limited experience. Let's put in a name. And a password. Don't forget your password. Select your security questions here, and don't do what I do, because that'll be a problem if you do actually need to get into the machine because you've forgotten your password. I generally will turn all of this off for my virtual machines. I don't need any of that. I don't need anything customized for it. So I'll just click all of those off. I won't be needing to customize my experience. I'll just click skip here. And do I want Cortana? No, thank you. And then it should just finish off the installation. Okay, so it has logged in to Windows 10. And here we are. So let's have a look at making this look a little bit better. The first thing that we probably should do is install VMware Tools. VMware Tools will allow a better integration between your host machine and the virtual machine, including your keyboard and mouse and network. So let's run the setup for that. And you should be able to select the default settings mostly, I believe. So let's just go through the process and check on that. Let's click Next. So I'll select Typical and Install. So now that's actually given me a much better view of the virtual machine, and it wants me to restart, so I'll click yes to that. Right, so it's restarted. We can now log into our new virtual machine. Now that we're here, some of the views that you may want to look at here is for VMware Workstation. You can show or hide the library on the left hand side. This one is show or hide the thumbnail bar. Don't really like that view. This one is to enter full screen mode. So doing that will give you almost like you are working directly on the virtual machine. If you like that view, that's okay. We've got Unity mode we don't use. We can integrate our virtual machine directly with our physical machine. I don't really use that much at all. Or you can freeze stretch. I'm going to leave the default settings. I like to see the library there, so I'll leave that there for all of my videos. Excuse the fan noise. I'm doing all this on a laptop, and sometimes it starts to ramp up the fan, so hopefully that's not too annoying. So we might quickly look at, before we go on to any other videos or any other installations, we might look at what some of the things are that I like to do for my virtual machines, because with Windows 10, for instance, I'm only going to use it as an administrative tool, testing my domains, testing other things, networking and shares and user accounts, those sorts of fun things. So I'll generally go ahead and customize a little bit. It is entirely up to you how you want to customize your virtual machine, or your physical machine for that matter. But just so you know, you can do that. For instance, tiles in the start menu, you can, for the most part, you can just unpin them, resize or move or uninstall. So for things that I just don't want on my virtual machine, I'll either uninstall them, and if I can't uninstall them, I'll unpin them from the start menu. You may want to keep some things, that's entirely up to you. So I'll go ahead and I'll clean up this stuff here. I'll keep Microsoft Edge. Oh, it's a fantastic product, isn't it? So I've only got Microsoft Edge here, and I can add new tiles here as I see fit later on. I'll generally get rid of some of these things from the taskbar. You can change the taskbar settings here. You can also add or remove different toolbars. I'm going to get rid of the Cortana button, task view button. I might also get rid of the search button, and yeah, I think that'll probably do that. Okay, so the other thing that I might do is I might have a look at the view here for the File Explorer. In the File Explorer, you can change the view of the tiles that appear here, so you can select a different view, and you can show item checkboxes or not show them next to items. I don't like showing the item checkboxes. We can show the file name extensions. This could be useful for, we'll probably need to see an example of that. So if we want to make a new text document that has the file extension of .txt, if I untick that, then we don't have the file extension showing. Again, that's up to you whether you want to view file extensions. You can also show hidden files. Hidden files you probably wouldn't normally view. Program data, for instance, is a hidden folder. So if I untick that, you'll see that that'll disappear. And the reason that you would hide them is so that you don't accidentally do anything naughty in there that you shouldn't be doing. But you can view them if you do need to find something. The users directory exists here, and that's also generally what you'll see in the quick access. So just going back to this PC, which is the default view for, well actually this is the default view. When you first open up Explorer, this is the default view that I get. I may want to change that. You can right click on the quick access area and go to options, and you can select to open File Explorer to either quick access or this PC. And I prefer to use this PC. It is entirely up to you. I'll leave the click items as follows section, but I will untick show recently used files in quick access and show frequently used folders in quick access, and clear that setting and apply. And then when I close down Explorer, next time I open up the Explorer, then I have the view that I want. I have a collapsed quick access. I have my user documents folder, my user folders here, sorry, and then I have the device drives. That's the image file that's still connected to the virtual machine. If you want to remove that, you can right click on the virtual machine, go down to settings, and go down to the CD DVD, and you can untick whether it's connected or not. And you can also, if you want to, untick connect it power on, because I won't be using it. Or you can use the physical drive if you've got one on the computer as well. So I'll click OK there, and that should disappear. Brilliant. Okay. Right, so here we can do go into the properties of the computer, and we can look at the advanced system settings, and the system properties box will come up, and the first one is the performance for visual effects, processor scheduling, memory usage, and virtual memory. Let's click on the settings there. Now Windows has selected to choose what's best for your computer, or you can change things customly. You can tick or untick, but you can see what Windows has already chosen. It's only unticked two things. You can adjust for best appearance, which will tick those things so you get a better appearance of your virtual machine, or you can select adjust for best performance, which is what I like to do. It may not look quite as pretty with transitions, but it's a little bit snappier. In the advanced settings is where you can adjust your processor scheduling, or you can adjust your virtual memory. Virtual memory is your paging file that when your computer needs to write some RAM, as it were, to hard drive, it can use space on your hard drive as virtual RAM. Virtual RAM is not as fast as physical RAM, so you need to have a fairly good reason for changing this, otherwise leave the default settings. But you certainly can change that, and you can even change the size and the location of the paging file. But I won't be doing that here. The only thing that I'll change is the visual effects, adjust for best performance. It wants me to restart. I'll just restart later because there's a few more changes that I want to do. So I'll just leave that one there. I'll go back to this local disk. If I right click on there, and I can go to properties here, then in here I can have, when I've finished cleaning this up, I can go through a disk cleanup, and I can select all these items in here for cleaning up. The other thing that you can do before you do that, if you want to, is you can add and remove programs. And you can look at the list in here, and you can select items that you don't think that you'll be using in your virtual machine if you want to, and you can get rid of them, unfortunately, one at a time. Some things you can't get rid of. Some things you may not want to get rid of, unfortunately. So I might go through and just remove some of these things that I don't feel I'll be using in my virtual machine. And I'm doing this in preparation for creating a template virtual machine that I can use to fire up a new instance of Windows 10 that's fresh. So I've removed all of the items that I didn't need. Now it should be said that if you plan to use the virtual machine productively, then you may want to leave a lot of the things that are already there and just ignore what we just did here. These are entirely up to you, but I'm not using it for that purpose. I'm just using it as an administrative machine. Once I've done that, I can go in and select all of these items for a disk cleanup. I can also clean up system files, which will get rid of the if I go into more options, I can get rid of the system restore, the latest, only leaving the latest if it's enabled. I can go in here, I can clean up programs and features as well, but I've already pretty much done all that. So now I'll just go back in and retick all these boxes and click OK and delete files. So we'll go ahead and wait for that to happen. Right, so that took an extraordinarily long period of time. So now that that's done, I can close all of that. And I'll just quickly give the machine, no, actually I won't. Sorry, there's one more thing that I did need to do, which I'd almost forgot about. And that is to rename the computer. Right click on this PC, Properties, rename this PC, Advanced. And here's just the computer description. I don't need to change that. What I need to change is the computer name. So here is just a automatically generated, Microsoft generated name that it feels is suitable for your machine. I want to give it a name that is a little bit more useful. Win 10 VM01. Oops, that's not a dash. That's an equal sign. Okay, Win10 VM01. Click OK. And this will require you to reboot your computer to make those changes. And I might as well do that now because I needed to do a reboot anyway. Right, so we're back in. Just make sure that everything's still working well. And it is. Now, I probably should have mentioned that if you are planning on using this on the internet, and one of the reasons why I connected it to the internet in the first place was to do this, I should have done a Windows update. Just to patch anything that should be patched. I won't be upgrading, so I can get rid of that Windows 11 nonsense there. So just check for updates, and I would recommend that you actually do this before you do your system cleanup. This part will take some time, so this is definitely where I pause the video and until this is completed. Right, restart required, so let's restart now. Right, okay, some updates have been done. It's actually advised, unfortunately, even though that took a very long time to complete, to do it all over again. And you'll notice also I've got some optional quality updates available if I want to download and install that. Before I do, I'll just click check for updates one more time. And there are a few updates. for the Windows Defender antivirus, so we'll let it do that definitely. Right, that completed. So now I'm going to download and install optional quality updates if I want to. Why not? Right, so pending restart, let's restart now. And it has restarted. So whilst that was a long process, the entire setup and install, as well as the cleanup and Windows update, you know, it's a couple of hours work, I realise that, but you've got a virtual machine that is secured, up to date and ready to use. So I'll go and power this one off for the time being, getting ready for our next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.